5. This is News Today with me, Emefa Akosia Adeti. Over 60 minutes, state-owned enterprises debt crosses 200 billion cedis as JoyNews research reveals ECG, COCOBOD and Vieri continue to record heavy debt. We have details as the finance minister pushes for urgent restructuring of key SOEs as he insists almost all of them are in red.
Almost all state-owned enterprises are in the red. Almost all of them are in the red. From the Electricity Company of Ghana to the Agricultural Development Bank. Almost all of them are in the red.
Also, former Deputy Executive Secretary of the National Service Authority is set to present herself at the National Investigation Bureau as part of ongoing inquiries into National Service scandal.
Estimate. Every month. And that is money that Chika and his colleagues in the finance ministry could have used.
In our Crumbling task series, we'll tell you how pupils of Joanayeli Day Basic School risk their lives every day in their pursuit of education. Learning in a building best described as a death trap.
Well, a lot of challenge. I'm talking about the building, the school building. It has a big cracks, and actually it's more or less a death trap.
We also have business, sports and showbiz. We are your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Thanks for choosing us. Please stay for details. Once again, many thanks for choosing us. Now, first this afternoon, state-owned enterprises are drowning in debt, crossing a staggering 200 billion cedis. A JoyNews research has uncovered that key SOEs, including ECG, COCOBOD and Vieri, continue to pile on heavy financial burdens with no clear path to recovery. Or the National Economic Dialogue on Monday, Finance Minister Dr. Kasia Latoforsen did not mince words. He painted a dire picture of Ghana's SOEs, warning that almost all of them are bleeding financially. According to him, restructuring of key SOEs is needed. Take a listen.
SOEs and joint ventures company showing mounting operational and financial risk. Almost all state-owned enterprises are in the red. Almost all of them are in the red. From the Electricity Company of Ghana to the Agricultural Development Bank. Almost all of them are in the red. In fact, beginning from the year 2021, 2022, and 2023, you will see that COCOBOD posed some profit of 2.2 billion in the year 2023. But Your Excellency, this is artificial profit. This profit is because they failed to service their debt because of the debt suspension. And so all the cocoa bills that were due at the time, they failed to pay because of debt suspension. Subsequently, this debt still exists, and so we will need to take action to restructure most of the state-owned enterprises.
But what are the debt portfolios of Ghana state-owned enterprises? JoyNews lead data research analyst Isaac Kofi joins me in the studio with more. And Kofi, I know that we have a lot more to be discussing about debt, but what is the fiscal outlook looking like?
I mean, the first institution that gave an outlook of the state-owned enterprise was the IMF, who said that there were 8 SOEs that pose financial risks to the stability of this country. Now, they mentioned ECG, they mentioned other state-owned enterprises. Now, on the smart world now is the debt burden of this state-owned enterprise that we are talking about. All these SOEs, this is their debt portfolio. And you can see 216 billion Ghana cedis is the current debt position. And we are projecting that, looking at the growth rate of this debt, we could hit some 250 billion Ghana cedis by the end of 2024, which we are done with that fiscal year, but we are yet to see the financial report. Now, if you break this down and you see that some key SOEs, in fact, let's go to the next slide that talks about the key SOEs that, are contributing significantly to this debt. And we heard the president made mention of ECG and COCOBOD. Now, if you go deep down into the SOE report, you will know that, look at ECG, and these are the top 6 SOEs contributing to that big $216 billion cedis debt that we saw. ECG alone, 47.2 billion Ghana cedis. We understand the president has actually, he has the most recent data, he said is with about 50 billion Ghana cedis. COCOBOD, more than 30 billion Ghana cedis, but the data we have and in the public domain is 24.6 billion Ghana cedis. All of these SOEs making huge losses. Now let's go to the next slide that breaks it, talks about what the finance minister said about COCOBOD. And he says that it looks like it's magic for you to see COCOBOD that was making a loss of 2.3 billion Ghana cedis in 2021, now reporting a net profit of 2.4 billion Ghana cedis. This, he says, is artificial. And it could be the case because COCOBOD is one of the SOEs that participated in the DDEP, and they had most of their debt restructured. So they had breathing space, not paying interest. Could it be the reason why we are seeing, this 2.4 billion Ghana cedis?
Break it down and speak English for me to understand. What does it mean even if they say it's artificial?
Artificial in the sense that he believes that if you had allowed COCOBOD to pay its debt, pay the interest, pay the people they were owing, definitely, then monies were going to leave the coffers of COCOBOD and they were going to plunge themselves into losses again, because we know consistently they've been making losses. But once you allow COCOBOD to suspend debt servicing obligation, that could turn out some artificial profit of some 2.4 billion Ghana cedis. We will go deep down into the figures, but what we are reporting and what we know is that state-owned enterprises continue to report losses, and their debt burden or liabilities now is hovering above 200 billion Ghana cedis. We are projecting that by when maybe the 2024 report comes out, we could be hitting some 250 billion.
And so finally, for clarity, for the energy sector carries the biggest debt.
Absolutely.
However, COCOBOD is also carrying a significant...
You put it right. Energy sector, more than 60% of the debts we saw.
Thank you so much, Kofi. But on the back of this, let's speak to an economist. Dr. Peter Tekpe is an economist. I'd like to get a lot more clarity. Yesterday, we started this conversation, especially after the dialogue, day 1. Today is day 2, and yesterday we got a bit of clarity, even before yesterday, that the energy sector is a huge contributor to our debt. But our findings again today tells us that COCOBOD is also contributing. Cocoa really is supposed to be contributing to our revenue, but now is recording as a red as well. Explain to us what that means for the economy.
Thanks very much, and good afternoon to cherished viewers. Indeed, it's a cause of concern. The energy sector debt has been a major issue for this economy. And you notice that currently, even with the State of the Nation address, the president mentioned that. And so it's not surprising that we see that even ECG, we see the depth of ECG. The problem over the years is that we have certain structured problems. And the reason was because government engaged the services of the energy sector players in terms of power plants in the past. That has affected the economy in terms of the kind of contract that were signed, where we had the popular take or pay and take and pay contract. You realize that when the previous government came in, they said that they want to, look at all the power plants, and then they tried to restructure. Unfortunately, that didn't go well. We had ESLA, where it was meant to solve the problem. Unfortunately, we are still, it's just like the way TOR is. We have paid TOR recovery levy in the past, but we have still not been able to get TOR to survive. So the problems goes beyond just the debt that is being accumulated. There is something that is being done, which is about the structure that needs to be put in place, about the infrastructure, about the system. Other than that, you put the best energy experts in place, they will still incur losses, because there are fundamental issues that need to be addressed.
Right.
So if you look at ECG, for instance, the problem is not the personalities at ECG. The problem is that, one, there are political interferences that is impacting ECG. Certain things are not being done properly. And unfortunately, there's so many wastage that is going on. If PDS, for instance, was in place, I can assure you that PDS will have been making profit by now, because it's a very vibrant sector that we should not be incurring losses.
I'll take you to the COCOBOD matter, and especially because we're thinking a child in this country knows that cocoa is supposed to be one of our contributors of revenue. But it's been highlighted, our fact-checking is telling us that COCOBOD in itself is also in red and is a contributor to one of our many debts that we've been discussing in the country. What really can we do with COCOBOD?
Again, it has to do with political interference and government not being bold to take certain decisions. What does COCOBOD do? They sell cocoa. That is what they are into. And if you are growing cocoa, you are selling cocoa. You go to the external market to borrow money to come and buy cocoa beans and then you sell. That is simple. But because over the years, we did not pay attention to the cocoa sector, where we will be intentional and conscious about expanding and growing our cocoa bean, growing our cocoa, supporting the cocoa farmers. We are destroying the cocoa farms with galamsey. And then you go to the foreign, the international market, borrow money to come and buy cocoa beans in advance. By the time you finish buying the cocoa beans, you are short of the beans. So if you are supposed to buy 1 million tons, and you went to the market to borrow to buy 1 million tons of cocoa, and then you end up only getting 800,000, 400,000. Because you already borrowed the money, your interest will keep accruing. The following year, you go again to borrow money. Meanwhile, you have a gap that you have to cover from the previous year. So you see that debt keep accumulating.
Right.
So this is not rocket science. These are simple matters that we need to address. And until we address them, the debt will keep accumulating.
Thank you, Dr. Peter Tekpe. Today is day 2 of the dialogue, and we're hoping that we'll still get some conversations around this one, specifically the SOEs. And when we do, definitely come to you. But away from that, former Deputy Executive Director of the National Service Authority, Gifty Oware-Mensah, is expected back in the country today and possibly arrested in connection with the ongoing National Service fraud scandal. The scheme, which allegedly amounted to a 500 million Ghana cedis fraud, today we expected that she is back in the country. Now, let me connect with my colleague Elton Broby. Elton, if you're joining us, I want to know whether what we've been finding so far.
Right. So, MFA, what we are picking is that according to the minority leader, Alexander Penyamakim, Gifty Oware, who was out of the country, and so many things have been said about her. Some have suggested that she's run away because of the role she may have played in the national service scandal. Is expected in the country. She's on an Emirates flight. Now, our tracking of the flight number indicates that it is expected to touch down at exactly 12:13. That is right about now. The aircraft to be touching down at the Kotoka International Airport. Now, according to Alexander Penyamakim, some members on the minority side will be at the airport to welcome her, and then will take her to the NIB office for her to answer any questions that the NIB may have regarding the role she may have played in the national service scandal, which, according to government, resulted in 15 million cedis lost to the state every month. Already, another executive director, remember, was arrested on the 22nd of February and then granted bail. Gifty Oware was the only person who was out of town at the time government decided to issue the investigation into this matter. Now we are told that she's expected in the country today via Emirates, expected to touch down at 12:13. And then the minority on their own said that they'll be at the airport to welcome her and take her to the NIB office for some questions. Now, we are also being told that she may be arrested by officials of the NIB at the airport and then taken in to answer some questions.
Right. Also,
it probably is happening now because by the time and according to the tracking of the aircraft, it should be touching down now or may have touched down, and I'm waiting to see how all would unfold.
Right. Elton, thank you, and thanks for that correction. 50 million every month, and thank you. Let me take you to the airport if we have my colleague Blessed Soga to confirm whether or not she has arrived. But if she hasn't, let me take you back to the story. Pupils of JoyNews Today Basic School in the Namumba North Municipality of the North Region risk their lives every day in quest to quench their thirst for education. Their school is a ticking time bomb, learning dangerously with deep cracks on the verge of collapse. When it rains, teachers stay away, fearing disaster. Yet children like Joseph and Piggery brave the downpour, clinging to the hope of an education. But their dream of learning has become a gamble with death. Emmanuel Jivenu has more in our latest education series, Crumbling Stars.
JoyNews, a farming community in the Namumba North Municipality of the Northern Region, is soaked in rain. It is 8 in the morning and the streets are still quiet. For the children of JoyNews, these rains are more than just natural occurrence. It is a barrier to their education. This is JoyNews DA Basic School, a 3-unit mud block that has long passed its prime. It leans precariously with deep cracks threatening to collapse at any moment. Yet, this fragile structure is where the foundation of the education begins or ends. There is nobody in sight, and it appears there will be no school today. However, in my quest to satisfy my curiosity, I entered one of the classrooms. There, I met these siblings.
How are you?
I'm fine.
What's your name?
My name is Paul Bandelam.
Which class are you?
P4.
Who is that?
My name is Pico Pamba.
Okay, how are you?
Yeah, fine, thank you. So.
Joseph and Piggery braved the rain, arriving drenched, hoping school day will still begin. Piggery, the youngest, is visibly shivering from the cold weather. Her brother could not look on, so he removed his wet shirt to cover his sister in an attempt to provide her with some warmth. But their determination meets despair. The rain keeps pouring, and the building offers little solace. It is a chilling irony. These children seek knowledge, yet their shelter could collapse at any moment. The absence of teachers and students leaves the classrooms to the animals. With no doors or windows, the school serves as a refuge for livestock instead of children. The state of the school reflects the neglect suffered by the community's youngest learners. I'm curious to know how classes are held here when it rains. Unfortunately, the head teacher is miles away, sheltering from the rain like everyone else. So I decided to reach him on phone. He paints a grimmer picture of what learning in this structure looks like.
Okay, am I talking to the head teacher?
Yes.
Okay. You are in your school. Will you be coming to school today?
It is still raining.
Okay, so when will you be coming to school?
Monday.
Oh, meaning that there's not going to be school today?
It may be because there are some teachers in that community. And I don't know whether it is raining at that place or not. I can't tell. So if it is raining at that place, I don't think they can also go because they will not come out. The children cannot come to the school and the teachers too cannot go.
Children, we have 2 of them here.
Oh, you have 2 of them?
Yes, and they are waiting for the teachers to come and teach them.
To come and teach them?
Yes.
Is it not raining at that place?
Yeah, it is raining.
So how do you do? If you go with your books, won't it spoil?
Yeah, it will spoil.
So what do we do? I can only call a teacher in the community so that if he has updated, he can come and listen to you.
I want to know the challenges in your school.
Okay, we have a lot of challenge. I'm talking about the building, the school building. It has a big cracks. and actually it's more or less a death trap. Because of that, what we do is that when they break like this, we convey the furniture out to the distance, to the mango trees, so that it is the mango trees that we always have our classes for the sake of this thing, to save the children's life.
For years, the school has been asking for help, but no meaningful intervention has come. The future of Joanna Nyele's children is literally crumbling.
Will you advise we take the children home? The 2 children that have come to school?
Yes. You should let them go back.
Okay. Okay.
For now, I can't come.
Jonas is one of the few teachers living in the community. He's been sent by the head teacher to assist show us around the school. Each step on the compound reveals the scale of the problem. From kindergarten to basic 6, the pupils are squeezed into 3 dilapidated classrooms. When rain falls, learning halts.
When it rains, we can't have classes. And the classes are only 3. And we have KG1 up to P6. So even if the classes are good, the classes are not enough for us. And also the classes too are not good. It's too rough.
For many, this means falling further behind, a future slipping away with every downpour. With permission from the head teacher and the assistance from the teacher, we take Joseph and Piggery home. They are soaked, shivering, and visibly exhausted, yet their spirit remains unbroken. Joseph and Piggery represent countless children in Joanna Nyele and beyond, children whose dreams are held hostage by neglect. The government must act now. These young ones are not just statistics, they are the future. How many more rainy days will pass before their cries for help are heard? Emmanuel Jivenu, JoyNews, Joanna Nyele, Nanumba North Municipality, Northern Region.
Well, School for Life has been working to improve the condition of deprived schools in rural Ghana. Ayuba Abukari is head of programs and partnerships and joins us via Zoom. Now, thank you for joining us. And be that, how widespread is the issue of collapsing school buildings in the northern region?
Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to your cherished viewers. Indeed, the issue is widespread and concerning. We have been doing this series for a number of years now. If you recall, last year and last 2 years, we did the same series called Ghana School of Shame. And we reported on issues similar to this. And so if you go around our district we work, this is a common situation. There is statistics that about 5,000 schools are under trees, and this is just one of them. And we believe that this is even underreported. Over the years, the basic education sector has not received the needed attention. And so the structures that we have keep deteriorating and getting dilapidated. Information from the Early Childhood Department of the GES shows that over 70% of schools in the northern region do not have cages attached to them.
Right.
They either are in makeshift structures or they are under trees. And so it is widespread across northern Ghana.
Thanks for bringing us that to our attention. But with Ghana's commitments to SDG 4, ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education, what structural gaps hinder progress in rural areas like Joanna Nyele?
Yeah, so Joanna Nyele is just one of the communities. And we know those structural gaps are widespread. Infrastructure problem is widespread in our communities. And this is characterized by overcrowding, in classes, and then, limited or inadequate teaching and learning resources. And as for, sanitation issue is a luxury. So many schools do not have good sanitation facilities. no urinaries and toilets for the pupils and teachers. And this is a huge problem. And the issue of related to teachers is also very critical.
Right.
So these are some of the structural gaps that affect education in the northern part of Ghana where we operate.
I will now bring Dr. Peter Antipati, Executive Director, Institute of Education Studies, IFES. Now, what does the state of school like John Ayinle DA Basic School say about Ghana's commitment to equitable access to quality basic education, Doctor? Doc, if you can hear me, kindly unmute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Please, can I have the question again?
Well, so we're asking that what does the state of school like this one, the one we've just told its story, John Ayinle DA Basic School, say about Ghana's commitments to the whole equitable access to quality basic education?
All right, thank you very much, and good afternoon to your viewers. It tells us that we hardly do plan in terms of our educational resource distribution. It tells us that we do not take equity as an important variable in our distribution of educational resources, because if we do, our first attention and focus will be on these schools. I've been checking the data on this particular districts, Nanumba North and Nanumba South. I've been looking at the data, and it seems that all the schools there, I mean the basic schools there, it looks like almost 40% of them are in states that do not promote quality education, that you don't even have to take case into those structures to even think of giving them any kind of education, and that is very worrying. The interesting bit of this is that there is data on all these schools that if we really want to address the problem that we see on our screens, we should be able to do it. And the reason why we're not be able to do that is because we do not apply the principles of equity when we are funding education and we are distributing our resources.
Well, you have just mentioned funding. Now, despite annual budget allocation for education infrastructure, why do we still have dangerous school structures, especially in rural areas?
The reason is simply because we do not have a plan to deal with these schools. I remember there's been talk about schools under tree and all those things. And the fact is that these schools, their data sits with the Ministry of Education. And they know these schools, because even me sitting here, I'm able to determine the number of schools in these two districts, and Anumba North and Anumba South, that requires repairs, which is almost 40%. How much more the Minister of Education? How much more the Ghana Education Service? So they know. They know. The point is that we do not plan to deal with these problems. And our approach to some of these things have always been the approach whereby we hear this and then we move the media there, we try to solve their problems for them, and it's all over the news. But we don't have a plan to deal with schools like this, schools that have challenges in terms of their whole infrastructure, in terms of the availability of furniture and all those things. We have a data on it, but we don't have a plan to deal with it. So when even we have the money, we still push it to places where technically we don't have to spend much on
which
them.
will just trigger my question of accountability, Doug, and that will be your final question. Please answer that in a few seconds for me. Accountability to ensure that if we do have the budget in place, how effectively can we utilize it?
So the first thing we need to do is to make sure that the community is responsible for this. And I think one of the things that we're going to have very good impact on is activating the PTAs, and then the community, and also the other philanthropists and NGOs like School for Life. They can step in and help ensure that some of these things are addressed and dealt with. If you leave it to the central government, it's going to be difficult. So the district assembly should also be up and doing. The MP, I mean the local government authority, the DCs, the MPs should all be brought to know the state of these things in the district. And then we try to raise monies internally to deal with these challenges. I think that is a way we'll be able to.
Thank you, Doc. I'll go back to School for Life and just inquire really, what interim steps can we or should we take to prevent strategies in school with collapsing structures, and what's your message for the authorities responsible for ensuring safe learning environments?
Yes, so thank you very much for, this particular situation is an emergency. And for us, we know that the government has said that he will tackle the 5,000 out of, schools under 3. And we think that this should be the ones he should tackle first. Target those, schools that are collapsing. As you know, they cannot use the classroom again. The teacher says that when it's not raining, they use the trees.
Right.
And yes, and so we think that government should tackle these ones first before he thinks of tackling any other schools.
Thank you.
For us at School for Life, we are always available to support with information like this, bring out the issues so that we can collaborate with the government to address them.
Thank you so much, Ayaba. Thank you. Away from that, it's obviously Ghana month, and in this month, we'd like to bring you to the story. Menhia stands as the soul of Asante man, a timeless emblem of power, tradition, and prestige, nestled in the heart of Kumasi. It's more than just a town. It has the revered seat of Asante royalty. As part of our Ghana Month series, Irabina Akwe delves into the origins of the name Menhia and uncovers the rich cultural significance of the Akwesidai festival.
Standing at the heart of Kumasi, the Menhia Palace is a symbol of Ashanti royal authority and history. Today is the Akwesidai Festival, and as the festivities kick off, we celebrate the legacy of the Asante people from royal regalia to the enduring influence of the Asante Hene.
Menhia is a suburb of Kumasi, located about 3 kilometers northwest of Kumasi's business central district. Menhia is a significant cultural and historical center, known for its vibrant markets, traditional crafts, and lively cultural events. The town is home to the Menhia Palace, the seat of the Asante monarch, the Asante Hene. The palace harbors the identity, rich culture, and fascinating history of the Asantes, including their struggle for independence from British suppression and their pride in upholding their cultural heritage. Monarchical historian Osebo Nsusafo Kantanka shares the history of the Menhia town and palace.
The Tafo Hene agreed to lease or give out a piece of land, which is now called the Menhia. It came to be known as Menhia when Asante Hene came and thanked the Tafo king, or Tafo chief, for giving him a place. The statement he made was, but for you, Tafo Hene, I wouldn't have got a place to stay. So, to wit, Menhia Wanka, Minya Babintra, that brought about the name Menhia.
The biggest events that draws the largest crowd to Menhia are the Akwesidai and Adai Festival. Celebrated every 6 weeks on a Sunday, the Akwesidai Festival brings together the Ashanti people and others from across Ghana and the world to celebrate culture and pay homage.
When we talk of Akwesidai, we have 2 words put together to give us the name Akwesidai. That is Akwesi, somebody or something named on Sunday, named after Sunday, is called Akwesi or Kwesi. Ade is a sleeping place. The Ade is a special day set aside to offer prayers to the Almighty God through our ancestors. So the ancestors are believed to be our saints. They are in the spirit, so they can carry the message faster to the Almighty God than we, the ordinary human beings.
As vibrant colors of kente swirl, the air fills with the spirit of celebration. Sounds of the fonton from resonate, calling the community together and partake in this profound experience. But what do people associate with Menchia and Akwesi Day?
It symbolizes the blood that our ancestors lost when they were trying to build the empire.
In Asante region, or let's say in Kumasi, this is our, let's say, Christmas.
When Konfanoche bring the golden stew from the heaven to the earth for Asante, it means love and togetherness. And when you go to the Queen Mother place, when you finish, you just go there and you see what is going there as well. It's so amazing.
It is a day our ancestors set aside to remember them.
This festival and Menchia is a reminder of the Ashanti people's resilience, culture and reverence to their monarchy. From the grandeur of the Menchia Palace, my name is Arabna Akwe.
You're watching Joy News Today with me, MFA Akosiadete. We'll go for a quick break. When we come back, business, please stay.
Welcome back to business here on Joy News Today. My name is Winston Taki, and now to our first business story. In a bid to tackle mounting economic challenges, the government is set to introduce a series of aggressive measures in the 2025 budget. This follows alarming revelations that the nation's economic crisis is more severe than initially anticipated, with several state-owned enterprises now burdened with substantial debt. Tekwe, economic advisor to the President John Mahama, has weighed in on the significance of the National Economic Dialogue, defending its importance despite previous criticisms.
So, going into the budget, we are going to see more solutions.
So I get from you that
necessarily new.
The budget will come up with more extra solutions in containing the challenge.
Yes, it will have to come. And what this, the second reason for being here is that the breakout sessions in particular have heard the problems, right? They are also feeling the effects of the problems, right? And they are some of them are like the private sector, are the victims or beneficiaries of, say, interest rates and other things. So from their perspective, for this occasion, what do you make of the solutions? Because you have experts around, you have practitioners around, you have so many, a diverse group of Ghanaians are here, experienced, many of them experienced. So it is to also take recommendations, as was done in Senchi. If you remember, our president referred to Senchi, you know, to now use it to complement what government's list of solutions are, right? And say we have a buy-in, right? Some of the groups are discussing past solutions and...
What if you don't get a buy-in? Because and I've asked you this question before, and I'll ask it again. We went to the polls. Majority of Ghanaians gave you the mandate to govern based on what you promised them. Some are saying that, is this engagement even really necessary? Because what if at the end of the day, what they propose doesn't sink in line with what you promised the public based on that they gave you the mandate to govern?
You don't expect everybody to agree with you, one. Two, you don't expect everyone, you know, to give you, you know, solutions. But we do expect some solutions to come out.
Meanwhile, presidential advisor on the economy, Tekwe, has emphasized on the need for effective tax rationalization to enhance compliance. Speaking at a recently held Ghana-German Economic Association's Ghana Economic Outlook Conference in Accra, Mr. Tekwe stressed government's commitment to create a conducive environment for business growth.
The Ghana Economic Outlook 2025 was held under the theme Consolidating Macroeconomic Stability and Economic Rebound in an Election Year. According to Chief Executive of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Simon Maji, the government is working to improve the ease of doing business.
The GIPC, before we go out to market Ghana, we must also look within. What are our processes looking like? So I have sat down with the team and I have tasked them that would it not be possible for us to process work permits and all those quotas within 24 hours. Why would we have to keep an investor waiting for 5 days or a week to process some of these things? With technology, we'll be able to do that.
Presidential advisor on the economy, Seth Tekwe, emphasized the need for tax rationalization.
If we rationalize the tax regime, if we have difficulties, we introduce 2 taxes anytime we did austerity. National Fiscal Stabilization Levy or Fiscal Stabilization Levy, right? And then we had the temporary import duty. And anytime we went out of an austerity program with the fund, we removed them. So they were keeping them. What was the reason for most of the levies that we are keeping?
Economist Professor Godfrey Bokwing highlighted the impact of re-entering the bond market.
So now we are operating the short end of the yield curve. That is not sustainable. But then how do we extend that, reopen the bond market? I seriously think that before we think about going to the international capital market, let's get our domestic markets functioning, right? Because this is what we preside over. And let's build confidence in our market. So I think it's a step in the right direction.
Acting Executive Secretary of the Ghanaian German Economic Association, Hilary Saki Koji, underscored the significance of the conference.
For us, this is a major event, and it's our first event for the year where we bring our CEOs and captains of industry together to have a look into the year. How does the year look for us, especially coming out of an election and there's a change in leadership of the country or the governance? Definitely there are going to be changes.
That's all for business here on JoyNews Today. My name is Winston Taki. Up next is Showbiz after this break.
Hello there, good afternoon. Welcome to the Showbiz segment with me, Jacqueline Ansama Yebwa. To our first story, looks like the rap battle just turned into a courtroom ceasefire. Drake and iHeartMedia have officially settled their legal dispute after months of back and forth over allegations that the radio giant received special treatment to put Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us on heavy rotation.
Drake filed a legal petition in November accusing iHeartMedia of engaging in payola, essentially accepting under-the-table payments to boost airplay for Not Like Us.
They not like us, they not like us, they not like us. They not like us, they not like us, they not like us.
The track, a scathing diss aimed at Drake, became a cultural moment, but the Canadian rapper wasn't convinced it was all organic. In court documents, Drake alleged that UMG engaged in irregular and inappropriate business practices to push the song, despite its strong accusations against him. He argued that the lyrics, music video, and cover art unfairly portrayed him in a negative light. But after months of legal wrangling, both sides have decided to call a truce. A filing in Texas's Bexar County District Court confirmed that Drake and iHeartMedia have reached an amicable resolution of the dispute, though the details of the agreement remain under wraps. While this settlement closes one chapter, Drake's legal battles are far from over. He still has a defamation lawsuit pending against his own record label UMG in New York, accusing the company of allowing false accusations against him to spread unchecked. Interestingly, Kendrick Lamar isn't named in that lawsuit, keeping him out of the courtroom drama for now. For now, Drake and iHeartMedia are back on neutral ground, but the bigger war rages on. Jacqueline and Samaya Boy's report, read to you.
They not like us, they not like us, they not like us.
Well, Ghana Month is in full swing and is all about celebrating everything authentically Ghanaian: food, fashion, art, and of course, our rich festivals. Today, we shine a spotlight on some of Ghana's most vibrant celebrations that showcase our deep cultural heritage.
First up, Abuacher. In Winneba, the excitement is daily intense as two Asafa companies compete to capture a live deer with their bare hands. This age-old ritual honors the ancestors' migration from Timbuktu and pays tribute to their gods. Next, Fit to Afasha in Cape Coast, instituted to mark the end of a devastating epidemic, this festival reminds the people of the importance of keeping the environment clean. Expect colorful processions, drumming, and a grand derby to bring it all to a spectacular close. In the Equiapim Hills, Odra takes center stage in September and October. This festival is more than tradition. It's about triumph. It commemorates a historic victory over the Ashantis and symbolizes purification and renewal. Speaking of gratitude, Kundum is all about giving thanks for a bountiful harvest. With rhythmic drumming, energetic dancing, and striking masquerades, this festival moves from town to town. So, if you miss it in one place, just follow the beat to the next. Then there's Hogbe Chocho, celebrated every first Saturday in November. This festival marks the Anlo people's daring escape from tyranny, with a grand derby showcasing their resilience and unity. And let's not forget Akwisidai, held every 6 weeks by the Ashantis. This royal affair is dedicated to honoring ancestors and celebrating unity, with the grandest edition at Daikese taking place in January. From Homowo to Damba, Ghana's festivals are a true reflection of our heritage and pride. So, this Ghana month, let's embrace and celebrate the traditions that make us uniquely Ghanaian. Jacqueline and Somaya Boy's report, read to you.
On that Ghana month note is a wrap for the showbiz segments with me, Jacqueline and Somaya Yabua. Sports is up next.
Ghana Economic Outlook.
Time now to bring you sports here on Joy News Today with me, Muftao Nabila Abdullah. Joy Sports will be organizing its first thought leadership program for the year. And this is a program we describe as Joy Sports National Dialogue, resetting Ghana sports. And the focus will be on governance, infrastructure, and funding. Head of Thought Leadership of Joy Sports, Natalia Atto, says that this program is meant to serve Ghana sports with the best of policies.
Good. We're taking a cue from His Excellency the President on one of the days when he swore in a set of ministers. And this was specifically on the day when he swore in the Minister for Sports and Recreation. And he was very clear on what he sees the state of the sport industry or the sports sector as being, and also what kind of direction he wants to see the sector, to. So it's very important that as a collective we come together and look at key areas or key drivers of what will be a thriving sports industry, so that we tackle them from expert knowledge and from a solution-based point of view. Before you are able to get all of these solutions, we also need to do a few things scientifically as well, which is to tackle these problems or assess these problems that we have in Ghana sports from a very scientific point of view, so that we have a broader and deeper insight into what the drivers and the causes are, based on which we can get some solutions. So on the day, we're bringing together people who have expert knowledge in the key areas of governance, of infrastructure and financing. We do know that these areas are very key in delivering what will become a thriving sports industry in the future. So we do acknowledge as well that this is a continuous process. It is a step-by-step thing, and so we cannot expect results almost immediately. But what is important is that the collective of stakeholders in sport have come together and have identified that these are the key areas that we need to focus on in driving that agenda that the president has so well spelled out. So we're looking forward to some very healthy conversations and the trading of ideas so that we all have one important policy document that we can suggest to the Sports and Recreation Ministry to move ahead. It will be something that will also be followed globally on all of our platforms, and so we will also welcome.
That is your sports, and now we do have more sports stories on myjoyonline.com. MFA is standing by with the rest of the news.
Thank you so much, Muftar Nabila, for bringing us sports, and that will wrap it all for today on Joy News. I am MFA Akosia Adeti. For more news, do log on to myjoyonline.com. Many thanks for choosing us. Stay for our subsequent bulletins.